Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I'm just here to count the tangents.
My name's Jarrett, and I'm the guest star.
And and today, if Jarrett's here, we're doing a not cat chats here on Weekly Scroll. And as always, I have no fucking number which one it is. 13? Like number 13? 12.
12.
I feel like it's one of those two. But yeah, Jarrett's here. Space Penguin. As always, our monthly episode are not cat chats here. I was just talking to Hunter while you were running to go get coffee. We seem to have fallen into this kind of routine of random shit for like 20 to 30 minutes. It's a completely, usually non-TTRPG related topic, and then transition to TTRPGs. And a lot of times the topic comes from us bullshitting at the beginning, but we're not talking about that stuff. So, how do you feel about sumo?
I noticed you have a pretty cool shirt on.
𝗡𝗢𝗧 baby.
Is that a legendary person in the
No,
world
they're
of
current.
sumo?
They're a current person in a world of sumo. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Listen, Jordan, if you have any questions, just go to our Discord and go to the sumo channel, of which there is.
Yeah.
There's a sumo channel on your Discord.
Oh yeah,
There
I'm
is
a big
absolutely.
sumo guy. I love
cool.
sumo. Sumo's great. I feel like my two sports, and all you have to do is get into sumo, and then we'll match. Are European soccer, European football, specifically Liverpool, and then everybody else, and then sumo. And I genuinely pretty much just despise American sports now because it's a bunch of generally overpaid and terrible people just getting paid tons of money to have the companies that run it do corrupt bullshit and rig everything anyway. So, but I mean, that's just me.
Are you saying that the sports are rigged over here?
I
was yelling at the TV the other day because I'm a St. Louis baseball Cardinals fan, and I love the baseball Cardinals, and I watch a lot of baseball. And they were posting like clips of like Mark McGwire, and I'm just like, come on, man. The dude totally admitted to fucking rocking the roids for a long time. Like, how much of his career, even though he was like an integral part of, most of a decade, I think he played for St. Louis, 8 years or something. Like, it's still like,
Hey, I just want to let you guys know that every single professional American athlete has been on gear for at least some amount of time.
I
no.
think a percentage for sure, but I don't think all of them. But I will say, for baseball wise, it's hard when you talk about the steroids era because it saved baseball, and baseball knew exactly what was going on, and only started busting people when it broke containment. If it slowly kind of faded away, baseball knew exactly who was doing what the whole time they were doing it. So I don't have a lot of problem with Mark McGwire. I don't have a lot of problem with a lot of the other people. Barry Bonds obviously is one I have the biggest problem with because he was the most obvious one. The dude
he was pretty obvious.
His head size doubles at 40, but to this day refuses to admit that he was doing the juice.
It's called moon jaw, actually. So what happened was his jaw size, because he was on gear, tried to get more and more round. His jaw got more
moon
prominent.
Face. Yeah,
moon face, whatever. Yeah.
But it actually but his whole head, his head, his head size.
That's just because he got smarter. So
yeah, that's exactly
what you're talking about.
You get smart and your brain gets bigger.
We all know that's how it works.
But I mean, and then I was a basketball fan for a long time, but I'm gonna be honest, after the NBA stepped in to veto the Chris Paul to the Lakers trade after New Orleans and everything, I was like, come on, I know they were stewards of the team at the time, but it was so bad. It was so bad for basketball. The trade might have been just as bad, but the fact that the NBA could step in and override a decision that two teams made was ridiculous to me. Football is literally just like, hey, we heard you beat your spouse. Here's another $100 million contract.
We heard you fight dogs.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
I don't know.
I'm actually pro responsible steroid use in sports. I think if you do it under a doctor's supervision, you're taking your anti-estros, I want to see you destroy a ball and knock it into outer space. That sounds fucking sick. I don't care if your heart size increases slowly over time. You'll be fine.
I don't know how I feel about that. If grown adults can do whatever they want to do, and if everyone's agreed to be on a level playing field, whatever. So why I like sumo and why you should get into sumo, Jarrett, is because it's been around in some way, shape, or form for over 1,000 years and is deeply steeped in tradition and honor, to the point where, like, if you're the yokozuna, like the highest rank guy, and you like dishonor the sport in any way, they will force you to retire like the next day. So there's been times where like the yokozuna gets too drunk at a bar and like gets in a fight with somebody. Literally next day he's like in front of cameras being like, all right, sorry, I've dishonored all of Japan and the entire sport of sumo. I am retired. I'm out now. Like,
I just imagine if American sports did that. Like, and American sports pay, like, especially like football players and shit, they're paid millions and millions. Imagine if they had to hold up like a code of like respect and honor to keep playing. We'd lose chunks of the league. I think they've gotten better in more recent years, but like there have been some pretty fucking egregious fucking monsters playing football.
but
It's true.
anyway, that's why
Speaking
I like
of football, speaking of the other football, congrats
better
to
football.
Liverpool
Oh.
for winning the league. We haven't seen each other since we won the league, which is great.
we haven't. Yeah.
So, and
This
also
is
Crystal
our-
Palace. But I like this. This whole episode is just sports chat.
That's fine. Wait, no, just our normal random tangent to start the
Right.
episode, and then we'll get to the regular one. But God, I will never not cringe every time I just hear the words Crystal Palace, like no matter what. But yeah, they won the league. I think last time we were on, they needed like 2 more wins or something, and then Arsenal kind of shit the bed towards the end anyway, so it worked. And this is number 20, which ties Manchester United for the most ever, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And where did Man U end up?
They're in 17th. They're like right above the drop road. Or Spurs is 17th. They're 16 or 17th. They're right above the drop zone.
Can you imagine if Man U ever got relegated?
And it would be a sporting nightmare for so many fans.
It'd be, I mean, good on them. You know,
I mean, good on them, yeah.
But yeah.
So what about Crystal Palace? Just the words Crystal Palace together?
I think it was was it the same season that, remember what year was it? It was the first time that they kind of took a run at the championship with Klopp, and were doing well, and then had that like 5 or 6 game run at the end of the season where just everything fucking went wrong. That when they
Palace
the one of the ones
like 3-0 or something.
3-0, yeah, literally, it was. Like, that was like the nail in the coffin where it was like, we're going to get it. And then Crystal Palace beats us 3-0. And you're like, fuck, actually, I think they just knocked us out of like numerical contention. So, yeah. Yeah. They got a sweet logo, though.
They won the FA Cup yesterday by beating Manchester City. Yes. It's their Crystal Palace's first competitive trophy in 133 years or something like that.
Congratulations, Crystal Palace fans out there.
Yes. My friend Jay's partner is a huge Palace fan, and she was really ecstatic yesterday. So
it's really interesting, like thinking about European sports versus American sports, just because of the size. Because obviously, like, America is too fucking big. That's half the problem in this country, is it's too fucking big. It should be like 4 different countries. But like, and especially in England, looking at like football and football stadiums and stuff, because there's so fucking many. Like, outside of even like all of like the FA, like the 200 something that are in there, there's even more. So like, you could literally just like drive like 30 minutes and have like a whole new group of fans versus like America, where it's literally like you could drive 6 hours to the next state before you really run into, you know, a whole nother group of people, which is crazy.
Yeah. Driving through Kansas.
Yeah. What's your sports ball of choice, Hunter?
Oh, none of them.
You should start watching sumo, bro. There's no there. I
should watch sumo. I still watch some rock climbing here and there. I saw the last Real Rock release. It was cool. It was fine. I was in like, you know, there were a couple of like, you know, it's like 4 or it was 2 30-minute videos, like mini documentaries, and then 1 like hour-long one. And to be honest, I haven't finished the 1 hour long one, but I finished the 2 30s, and they're pretty interesting. I mean, one is like your very traditional A bunch of like Northern Europeans, dude, climb a mountain that takes like 2 weeks, and they sleep on portal ledges, and they face death, and they're all insane, and they're stoked about it, and that was pretty cool. The other one was like this kid who was incredibly bullied and like was like a really successful youth climber, and then went through puberty, obviously, and grew several feet and like a ton of weight. Still in like amazing shape, but it really changes like the mechanics of how your body works on the wall, especially if you were like so successful as a kid and you've really gotten your like movement patterns down. And he met up with this guy who has like a very colored history in rock climbing. And this was kind of a redemption story for that guy, and then kind of like the kid who felt bullied because of like his body changing, and also like this guy who's having the redemption story was very much like an online bully of people and their bodies. It was really interesting. He sent like a really amazingly hard route. I mean, harder than I'll ever send. What the fuck was the route called? We'll see. But yeah, so I watched it. That was pretty cool. I mean, a lot of those, like the Real Rock is like much more of like a documentary and like a story than it is like actually watching like a comp. So I do still like watching comps. I haven't been watching as much, but yeah, the Real Rock is cool. It's very interesting.
Nope.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing.
You should watch Sumo.
𝗡𝗢𝗧 is the name of the route.
Gotcha. That's a good one.
It's a 5:15, and it was an FA. It was a first ascent, by 𝗦𝗃𝗃 𝗖𝗵𝘁. It was pretty cool. It was a good story. You know, like a lot of times with the story, I'm like, this is pretty cool. But that one, I was like, damn, I'm gonna cry a little bit because of this one.
Damn.
You know? His mom's there, and his mom is like super supportive. She's like, I've never rock climbed, and like, but she's like, he loves it. And she was a very supportive.
Wouldn't that be nice to have a supportive mother?
You know, we can dream, can't we?
Right. But
I tried rock climbing. I tried rock climbing once, exactly one time, and failed so miserably at it that I couldn't even get past the second set on the floor from the floor up. That I never went back. It was pretty embarrassing.
One of these times when we're all together for more than just a con or something, we're all gonna go rock climbing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the bunch of European dudes climbing the big route is Riders on the Storm, and it's in Patagonia. It's like the east face of the Torre Central, and it took them like well over a week. I think it took them close to 2. And at one point it was snowing and storming so bad that they just had camped out in their portal ledges, just like, you know, a ledge on the fucking that's hooked to gear. I mean, it's really cool, but it's really funny because it's like 3 older dudes who've done this route several times, and one young guy who's like really coming up, and he's taking it really seriously. And the 3 older ones are like, you know, they're old vets at this point, and they're like, oh, look at this kid, he's like really going for it, you know, and they're just chilling. It's an incredible route. And I cannot imagine having to climb something so cold because it hurts. Like it genuinely hurts your hands terribly. And they're like pushing snow out of the way when they're getting higher up. I'm like, fuck, I know every single hold is first off freezing. And every like time the rock touches you, like it has a little edge. It's like a little sharp. It's
like climbing on knives. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking terrible. Although you do get great friction at a colder temperature. So send 10.
You should write a zine about that. Honestly, there have been some really good zines about rock climbing and spelunking and things like that. Like Sam Sorensen's Low Life is really, really good.
Yeah, I could maybe.
Yeah, but it's just those are the sorts of details that people really dig. At least I really dig when I read an RPG text. Like,
that's very true. Rock climbing RPG sounds funny.
I mean, hell yeah, do it.
Well, you could do a solo RPG about rock climbing. They have that dope
really
fucking
could,
God, what's the name of that manga that's all about the climber? Is incredible.
Oh, is there really a manga about? I mean, I'm not surprised. The whole sports manga
is crazy.
Has really blown up, and some of them are really good. So
that one's I think that's an older one. That one's been out for a while. Yeah. So Sumo, if you want to watch it, Jarrett, it's 2 weeks every other month for 6 tournaments a year, all of equal importance. So for 15 straight days, you get Sumo. I watch it on a Twitch channel called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who plays the whole tournament and then runs reruns all day and then leaves a VOD up so you can rewind it. But throughout the week, I'm going to be in our Discord, in there, watching those VODs. So come in, hang out. Anyone out there that wants to come learn more about sumo, hop in our Discord channel and come watch sumo with us.
I want to know how you got interested in sumo.
I watch Twitch a lot at night when I'm like trying to work, just to like body double shit, just to have something on. And I was just scrolling through channels and I found the Midnight Sumo channel I'm talking about. And I was like, bro, I've always been into super random sports. Like I really want to get into cricket, but it's like really hard to watch cricket over here. So I was like, dude, I'm gonna
cricket.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to watch some fucking sumo. And then literally like 20 minutes in, I'm like, this is my thing now. I'm going to make this a big part of my personality. And here we are, 3 tournaments later, with me wearing my 𝗡𝗢𝗧 shirt, talking to, on Knockout Chats about sumo. So that worked out.
Nice.
But speaking of that, we are here to talk about TTRPG stuff, specifically stuff that Space Penguin Inc. does. So what's the new release for the month?
The new release this month is what I'm holding up is Rosethorn Keep by Kaydevs and Charlotte Laskowski. So it's a solo RPG wherein you roll up with just D6s, your characters, right? I don't know. Do you have this on the screen, Ryan? On the PDF? Yeah. Jump to the page with the characters. And so each of your characters has a trait, and then they also have scores in specific abilities. And you use these abilities and you can use your traits. Traits are optional to use, but they're highly recommended. When you are attempting to beat certain tasks inside the dungeon, all the while raiding these dungeons in order to get like wood and copper and things like that to increase your keep, the titular Rosethorn Keep. So I'm not sure in video game parlance what this is called. Like, would it be called like a city builder?
I would call it like a dungeon crawler. Like there's a lot of dungeon crawlers where you go into dungeons, you get resources and you build up your city that gives you more bonuses. So
cool. Yeah, and that's exactly what Rosethorn Keep does, but it does this in this nice little sideways form factor, like it's printed horizontally or landscape. So for those who can't see this, who are just listening. And yeah, it tells you all about how to build up your Rosethorn Keep and to make it better. And you have separate different sections of the keep itself, like the kitchen, the stables, the courtyard, the armory, and even bedrooms that give your characters more power when they go through. This thing, since Charlotte first introduced it to me probably about 6 or 8 months ago, has been one of my favorite games. I have spent so many hours on airplanes and in trains playing this. Like I dearly love this because you can just pick it up and just pick your characters or roll your characters and then just go into the dungeon and roll some D6s to find out which encounter you have to fight. And then it's really super simple math. It's addition. You just add your stat score to the dice roll. I like it because it's cool that you roll the dice before you go into the dungeon, and then you have to pick which of those results you use for each encounter that you have to fight. But it's just super easy, super quick. You can spend all day building up your Rosethorn Keep, and it'll probably take you like 3 hours or so. But there's replayability because each time you run through, you're going to run into different encounters. It's not like you run into you can run into every single encounter if you want to, but you don't have to. And then, yeah, so it's kind of got like infinite replayability. Plus, I'm already talking with them about doing sequels.
Ooh.
And so with more dungeons and stuff to go through, which is pretty cool. So.
That's awesome. I love the pixelated aspects of it. I mean, for those that have watched the show, same creator that did Daisy Chainsaw, which had a bunch of gorgeous pixel art and pixel fonts and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Game's great.
Yeah, and this looks dope. I remember I got this on itch forever ago, and then when you said that you guys were printing it, I was super excited, and it looks fantastic. The print is really nice. But like you said, the game is really neat, and the character art is just so it's so good. And obviously, she did they did the character art for Daisy Chainsaw. But these little character portraits are fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to make it like I said, hoping to make it a series, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
Would be cool to put out a couple more dungeons a year, maybe. If it just like any creative process, it takes a while to make. It's not like you could just churn and burn them. But it would be cool to eventually collect these all into like a big hardcover, which would be really neat at some point, and then make it so it would be like a coffee table book with that sewn binding, so it would completely lay flat like every time. Like this, it's staple bound, so you can bend it back and you can make it lay flat, which is really nice. But it would be even neater in a hardcover with that sewn binding, so it would just like lay flat for you, and people on airplanes staring at you being like, what's that guy doing? And then you can teach them about RPGs, which is the best part of what we do, is telling more people about more RPGs and stuff like that.
I agree.
If you did hardback print, would you do it like landscape style like this?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we need more landscape hardback books.
Yeah.
Oh. Have you ever thought about doing like? I think we've talked about this, so the answer is probably yes. But my brain is dumb about doing like one giant like forbidden psalm of like all the expansions ever for that, like all the little mini zines in like one giant hardback.
So all of the monthly zines will eventually get collected into Collection of Death Volume 2 next year. Because remember, we did Collection of Death
Volume
with the Volume 1. So the plan is to do Collection of Death Volume 2. We're working on selling through the zines themselves. We don't want to reprint the material when you can get the material individually still.
Makes sense.
Just yet. But yeah, and some things like Trench 71, which is specifically meant for the Last War, that'll be held out for a Last War expansion collection and things like that. But then like all of the ones for Dread Knights, all the ones for Forbidden Psalm Core, all the ones for Mork Ball, if we do ones more for Mork Ball, those will all be in Collection of Death Volume 2. So definitely trying to make these things more accessible and have them available, easy to read and collect into one quick volume. It works like that's kind of how we built our whole company. Because I'm not a big comic collector, but I'm a comic collector, and I've been collecting comics since I was a little kid. And one of the best, most fun things to do is to pick up the monthly issues, but then also to pick up the trade paperback. The
I love a
editions.
trade paperback.
Yeah, I love a good trade because then you can reread everything really fast. And
Absolutely.
then also you can do cool stuff. Like we make it a value added product by putting more stuff. So there'll be even more unseen stuff, like probably unwritten at this point stuff that'll go into Collection of Death Volume 2. So it's not just like we're like, buy our things once and then buy them again later. It's like we're going to put more stuff in there to make it more useful for you. So it'll be a reason to pick it up later. But I dearly love doing that. One of the best is, and it's kind of a reverse of what we do. Do you guys know Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips? They do a series called Criminal.
I don't think so.
No.
So they do a series called Criminal. It's kind of like their world. And it's currently published by Image, but they do a couple years ago, they have the kind of level of workability that they did like 4 hardcovers in a year or something like that. So, but one of the things that they do in the individual issues of Criminal is they have like text pieces in the back written by people who aren't them, talking about like specifically the criminal underworld and as it relates to film and TV and other media. And then they don't collect those in the trade paperbacks. So it kind of makes it worthwhile to pick up the single issues. And
That's
then
pretty cool.
And then you pick up the trade paperbacks. But then a couple years ago, they gave in and started reprinting those pieces in the hardcover omnibus editions, which is really nice. So You can, for those of us who have somehow, like me, have somehow missed certain issues of Criminal here and there and been unable to get those because of the resale value being so high on certain issues, because these are small print run comics. Even for Image, they're still small print run. It's nice to be able to read all those text pieces at once in the back of the book, which is kind of cool too. So long and short, yes, I've kind of built Space Penguin in with that aspect of having the single issues and then the collected version later on.
That's awesome. What I'm looking forward to is you do the volume 1, you've already done that. You do the volume 2, you do the volume 3, and then you go, why don't we just put all 3 together into one giant hardback book? God, what's that? I have a book that's unnecessarily large. 𝗏𝗏𝗧 or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Like
It's like a space game.
Oh, I'm familiar.
You know what it is. I've shown it to you before, and I can't remember what it's called. Oh, it's huge. It's right here. No, that's not it. Anyway. What's a really popular space game that's like DCC-ish related? Goodman Games probably sells it, and they make a book that's fucking huge.
𝗏𝗏𝗧 𝗖𝗵𝘂𝗶.
Well, then, yeah, that's what I said, right?
Yeah.
𝗏𝗏𝗧, right? Yeah, the 𝗏𝗏𝗧 𝗖𝗵𝘁 book is like this freaking big. It's enormous. Yeah. But I don't know where it is.
So you want us to take all of the Forbidden Psalm stuff and collect it into this huge oversized tome.
Yeah. Like after you do 1, 2, 3, you got to do the collected 1 through 3, you know? And then because the way the like how much Will is able to like put out there, it's not gonna be that long. It's crazy what he does. So like,
this is very true.
You're gonna have like volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, volume 6, like pretty easily. So eventually you're gonna have to collect the collections into yet another thing.
Speaking of, because it'll probably be live before we see each other again, the crowdfund for Hope is for the Dead, which is the next Forbidden Psalm, goes live in June. I'm not sure of the specific date. Will's running that on his end, but it's zombies for Forbidden Psalm. So like in an infection scenario. It comes out, it releases on whatever day that 28 years later releases, because we're trying to because 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28 years later, those films definitely, they mean a lot to me, and I think they mean a lot to Will, which is great. And so we're trying to put that out at the same time. Hopefully this small resurgence of interest in zombies that movie will spring forth, will make people who want to read that, which would be really cool. Anyway, that launches
SEO too, you know?
Right. That launches in June on Kickstarter. And then so we'll talk more about that next month. We just wrapped up Liminal Horror Deluxe. Crowdfund just wrapped up a couple of days ago, and we did some good numbers for that. And for everyone listening, don't worry, the stretch goal that we did not reach will probably be available as an add-on. Afterward, there was a printed stretch goal that we had put at 150,000 that we didn't quite get to, but the material will be written. It's for 𝗏𝗏𝗃. The material will be written because it's coming to all backers as a digital stretch goal. So we're just going to go ahead and have it available as a physical add-on if people want that. So it's a starter adventure. So not that any of the adventures for Liminal Horror couldn't be considered starter adventures or be used as starter adventures, but this one, GA and Josh are specifically writing it from the standpoint of being a starter adventure, which is really cool.
I mean, there's so much stuff in Liminal Horror that could be starter adventures. You're right, but like the Bureau is fantastic, but there's still like a lot kind of to the Bureau. So having something would be really dope. But yeah, you guys pushed real damn close to 150K, which is crazy. Yeah. Thinking of like what Liminal Horror started as kind of this like Karen hack, and coming this far is insane. I'm so excited to get obviously I backed all of it, like the deluxe cloth thing. The book looks absolutely stunning, so I'm very excited to get that.
Cool. Did you get the reference on the cover for the special edition one for the
I read
limited
it
run?
there. Know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it is, but someone like, I think was it maybe Zach that like talked about like what the cover was and like what it was before.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So in the 80s and 90s, Time Life Books put out this series of books called Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown. And it was a very much a formative way. It was a way to get your conspiracy theories in a compact, easy to read form. And these were sold on TV. Anyway, the front cover of the first one has like a sphinx on it. And when we were talking about doing like a special cover for this, that's one of the ideas that I threw into Zach's realm, and he knocked it out of the fucking park for that limited cover. Like, I'm really excited. It's going to be cloth with silver foil on it, and I'm really hoping that I know that it's going to come out looking great, but I'm really hoping that people dig that and dig up those Time Life Mysteries of the Unknowns, because like I said, it was a digest, not really a digest, because these books are actually quite large, not page count wise, but size wise. I want to say they were like 10 by 13. I think so, but they were meant as like coffee table books. But there was a whole series called Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown, and I want to say there was like 13 volumes. There's probably like more volumes than that, but my brain wants to say there was 13 volumes to make the magic number. Anyway, maybe people will go dig those, research those up. You can probably find them on eBay. I guarantee you can find them at like used bookstores and stuff like that. Conspiracy theories in easy to read format.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I threw it up on screen for a little bit. Mystic Places being like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's like stacks of these things, and the books do look gorgeous. And it is like, yeah, when you see that and then you see the cover of Liminal Horror, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many there are though. 33 volume set, complete 33 volumes.
I was 20.
30.
I was 20.
You were close. There was a 3.
Yeah. That's such a crazy thing. Like, just like a Time Life. Here's all your conspiracy theories as a tabletop book, as a coffee table book.
Yeah.
God, if only they could just stay there, and that they weren't, proliferated by small but loud communities on the internet. And so people think that they actually have like standing, But here we are.
Yeah. So that's the story of the Liminal Horror Deluxe Edition cover, which I'm really excited for. That whole book is going to be just chock full of goodness. Like, all of Zach's art is amazing, of course, as always. And Josh and GA have really gone through and really added in parts that I don't think people, it's kind of stuff that you see someone be like, well, I wish I had a way to make a ruling on this. And they'll have like an entire chapter and appendices on how to make rulings for a situation like that. So it's really covering a lot of ground. Like, nothing is going to ever be exhaustive, but it's going to go a long way. Like, this book is going to come in at like 400 pages. So like, this is going to be the biggest book that we've done yet. So really super stoked to have all of that stuff in one format. And I'm hoping that it gets read and appreciated the same way that the Warden's operation manual for the Mothership 1E gets read and appreciated, because it's kind of an amalgamation of best practices and how really to do things. Definitely the WOM is. And just, I've found in my years being in this business and playing these games, that's one of the things that people ask for a lot is they don't know how to do rulings.
Right.
Like, it's for those of us who've been playing for a long time, it's just smash, easy peasy. Like, we can knock it out, no problem whatsoever. But think about how you would explain to somebody how to make rulings, right? So yesterday we were playing BX. Stella was running and it was just there was just two players, me and Fear, and we were. I had lost my dagger, so I was down to using flasks of oil and a lantern to make Molotov cocktails pretty quick to fight these scorpions off. And the Fear posted up a section from one of the BX books about oil, and it was literally an entire paragraph of rulings, but they had been brought up in Gygax and company's, home games, so they became rules instead of just how to make rulings and stuff like that. Talking about like the dimension, like the damage for a flask of oil, and how they puddle, and how much damage you take from running through fire and things like that. So I would much rather see books on how to do rulings, obviously, than rules. Keep the rules for the adventures. That's how I like it.
I also respect that mentality.
Yeah. I definitely like GM sections where all the stuff like that is in its own section and not dispersed throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
That's a nod to the 5 people that know what the fuck I'm talking about. But just different kind of books too. Like that's going to be a great book to have. I mean, again, like Josh was on the show. We did like a pre-Liminal Horror episode where he like talked in depth about like all the different parts, and it sounds amazing. And it sounds like it might even end up being bigger than they thought when it was bigger than what they thought it would be, which is going to be crazy. I think it's going to be like a brick, and it's like a 6x9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I want more like different kinds of books. You know what we did yesterday?
What did we do yesterday?
It's got your name all over it.
Violence Jam. How'd that go?
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was good. Yeah, it was neat. We did 1 and 2, and then I was like, oh, Jarrett Crader. I'm not shocked because like I think probably 60% of all the books behind me have your name in it. But it's just a good, weird, interesting book of like different stuff, and I wish like, talking about like Liminal Horror Deluxe, like all the tools you need, the extra stuff you need, like the more stuff you need, or things like this where it's a bunch of different random stuff. Like I don't know, the whole scene, a big chunk of the scene feels very stagnant right now, and I want more things either like that are weird, or things like the Warden's Operation Manual, which is like tools where people can make more with it, and things like you're doing with the Liminal Horror Deluxe Edition, like having those tools so people can make more. I don't know. I want more of that kind of stuff.
So what did you run out of Violence Jam?
Oh, we just talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. We did a non-rated episode and just read the violence rules, which are like 5 pages, and then just talked about like our favorite parts of the different entries in Violence Jam 1 and 2, because there's some really good, weird, fucked up, interesting stuff through both, and it's really neat. And I want somebody to. I want to play violence really bad after that, and I want to make shit for violence. And so, like, I don't know. I like the concept of, like, I didn't make a game. I made, like, a resolution mechanic and gave you a bit of guidance, and I go make shit, and then people did. Not 1 book full, but 2. So I thought that was really neat.
What did you think about my layout job?
I wish that in number 1, the authors' names were at the front of each one, because I didn't know who the fuck was writing what half the time.
There you go.
Yeah. So, well, now we know why, because Jarrett's like, yes, fuck you.
Someone made a volume 2?
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't know they made a volume 2.
Yeah. It's all adventures, pretty much.
Yeah. It's got Brandon art on the front, 𝗡𝗢𝗃 and it's got the itch page. I'll shoot you the link to the itch page. The itch page just put up like a Mixam print on demand that's as soon as it gets like approved or whatever, I'm gonna snag a copy of. But yeah, they put out a violence too. Like half of it is Luke adding stuff for like the modern paranormal horror thing that's in the rules. There's like half of it's like 3 adventures for that. But it was pretty cool. I mean, again, it's more like adventures versus number 1, which is just random. Like, here's like 3 new rules, or here's like a random setting in like 75 words or stuff. So it was cool.
Or here's like the one that's written in code that if you type all that into your computer, you can actually run it as a little program.
Yeah.
That's why I left it in there as code and things like that, just to mess with people.
Yeah, we found it online. It exists. There's a generator. Someone either I don't know if the creator did it or someone else did it, but you can find that generator created online.
It's great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool little DIY project.
That's what we figured when we looked into it, and it was just like this. It's like, how do you, if someone makes a generator, how would you put it into a book? And it's like, oh, just drop the code for it, and then there you go.
So the no shit in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, probably up until probably still happens in certain computing magazines and just in general interest and stuff like that. Even they used to do it in Dragon magazine and stuff like that too. They would have like those pages of text like that would have those that would essentially do that, which was just write this all into BASIC or COBOL or whatever, and then you got your little program. So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Something I grew up with as a kid, and then when Sean sent that to me, I was just like, this is how it's going to be. And just slapped it directly in there in the layout. So
there you go. I feel like I got an email recently too. Childhood, is that PDF for the print or something? Like, did I get an email from somebody? Is that going out or making progress?
So that's the PDFs are out for that one because that one got switched over to digital only.
Right.
And then Will has actually opened his UK store to sell his stuff and special things like that. Like we're trying to make it a little bit easier on him to get more of the people, you know, being a creator in the UK, and then more people in the UK wanting to pick that up and not being able to because of how much it costs to ship things over. And so Will has opened a store where he's selling that, and he's selling other things, small things like
special alt cover, hard covers and stuff.
Yeah, different covers of things and stuff like that. So, which is pretty good. Pretty cool. Will's actually going to be at UK Games Expo. I think that's next week. UKGE. Yes, Friday, May 30th to June 1st. And Will's going to be there at UKGE with some other random, hard to find Forbidden Psalm stuff. So nice. And neat little things. So picking that collector brain of yours, Ryan, there's going to be stuff you need to.
I'm like, if there's stuff that's not going to be on the website, I'm going to have to hit up Will and be like, so how about because I did snag some of those alt covers. I absolutely did.
Cool.
So yeah. What's is that it for Space Penguin for the month? We're doing Rosethorn Keep, and next month we're talking about zombies.
Yeah, talking about Hope is for the Dead next month, and Karen box set will be out to the general public next month as well. We're just about done fulfilling that. I just got notification that the patches for Survivors of the Core Wars are coming through, so those will be rides. So those will be going out once we take a little bit of a breather from Karen. We'll work on getting those out. I think we had estimated Q3 for fulfillment, so we're going to be fulfilling Q2, which is good. Ghost of Zoa's on a Mountain is currently on a ship heading in, so that will be fulfilling as well. And that one, we'd actually, you want to talk about a printer error? I forgot to have the ribbons put into the book. So instead of that, we're going to make it up to everybody by printing one of the stretch goals that we didn't hit. So cool. Which would you rather have, a new module to go along with this, or a ribbon in the book? I think everyone will be happy with the new ribbon in the book. So
yeah, I mean,
with the new module or something like that.
Yeah, I would definitely be happy with the new module. I do like a ribbon, though. I will say I do like a ribbon, but
yeah, it was just poor. It was poor communication on my part with our printer. And I totally didn't realize it until I'd actually got it wasn't in the sample copy, and I forgot to ask about it. So it's a minor thing on a small print run book, which is great. And happy to provide refunds people want refunds versus, you know, not getting the ribbon. But we're gonna go out. We're gonna go out of the box, and we're gonna print this module that Thomas is working on in a trifold. So that'll be coming with those. So, which I hope will make it up for people.
Yeah, I think that's
a
more
silly,
than
a silly mistake. And now that I've talked to our printer, and our printer says from now on, Jarrett, I'm just going to include ribbons on all of your books. And I'm like, yes.
There you go. There you
Perfect.
go. Not a bad thing to have. So yeah, and all of those things, you know, as those come out, we're going to be talking about those. Maybe next month we can do a bit of a brief like post-mortem on the fact that you can see your living room probably again at this point.
Oh, I'm talking about Karen. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Cool. But I think that's going to be episode whatever of Not Cat Chats it is this month, 12 or 13. As always, Jarrett, thanks for coming on. And you will be able to find us next month talking about everything we already said we were going to talk about like 5 minutes ago. So
and then some sports at the beginning.
Some sports. We got to do something different for next month. So we'll see. But I mean, Kasuma
won't
be on for a month after that.
I had a copy of one of my favorite books, Samuel Delaney's Dahlgren. I don't know if either of you ever read that, but I recommend it. It's one of the best science. It's science fantasy. It's science fiction. It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I had that ready. I had Ghost of Lion Castle, which is my favorite basic expert module. It's for basic. It's a solo module. And then I also had, to throw it back to like what we talked like last month, I had another Moorcock to talk about.
There you go.
So,
well, we'll stack that in for next time. We got the sumo in today. Again, watch sumo, kids.
Okay.
But that'll be it for us. Jarrett, thank you so much for being here. Hunter,
Thanks
you have fun going to work. And we'll see you all Saturday for something. Bye.